Are we ready?
Almost, Chairman. One moment.
Um,
Hey, Beverly, you should be host, and we're streaming live.
Thank you, Eric. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Internet.
And Jay said he'll be in about 11:15.
Dr. O'Halloran, I'm going to reach out to you after the meeting. We have some information we got to get to you.
Okay. I keep finding it hard to find the unmute button.
Chairman Cody, we are ready when you are.
All right. Thank you. Good morning to the members of the Governance Committee, staff, and to the citizens who were able to join us today at this meeting. I would like to keep us on schedule and call us meeting to order at 11:03. First of all, I want to say on our announcements, yesterday evening, I had the pleasure of joining CAT staff and standing before the Garden City Council members and presenting the importance of expanding transit services throughout Chatham County. I encourage each one of you to review the Garden City Council meeting on their website just to stay informed. I think we had a good outing and looks like everything is moving forward. They are going to work directly with Mrs. Malden to get this situation resolved for Garden City. On committee presentations, at this time, I do not see any presentations on the agenda, so we can move right along to the next agenda item. Recommended the board agenda item for the month. So it looks like we have 15 items that requires action from the board and 2 items that we are expecting presentations on. I would turn this section over to the CEO so she can provide us with the details of the items listed under section 4. And while we are going through the items, I ask that the committee let us know which items they would like to be removed from the consent agenda, if any. Thank you. Ms. Mulder.
Thank you, Chairman Cody, and you did a phenomenal job yesterday. I think everyone would be very proud of our chairman for his representation of the board and of the organization yesterday as well. So I'm glad to be standing next to you and a part of the CAT team.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, moving forward under number 4, recommended board consent and regular agenda items. Items A and B are the regular, item A is the board meeting minutes from 9/22/2020. And that's just the regular reading of the review of the minutes and approval. Items B and C, that's the COVID measures that are basically standard agenda items, deals with the authority extension and in terms of being able to implement things as needed to make decisions in terms of the COVID-19 response. Are there any questions about those 3 items?
No question.
All right.
Director O'Halloran.
Oh. All right, if there are no questions, item D is the authorization to allow us to continue our membership in the American Public Transportation Association. And that's just our standard membership. If there are no questions about that item, then I'm actually going to turn it over to our Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. David Stearns, to take items E, F, G, and H. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Stearns. We can't hear you.
Thank you, Ms. Malden. Let's see, items E, F, G, and H are revisions to policies that Kat is working through. I believe those actual policies, the proposed revised policies and the comparisons to the previous policies have already been sent out to the board members. And so we're just looking for approval by the board for the HDR policy, the ADA policy, the FMLA policy, and the progressive discipline policy. And that takes care of items E, F, G, and H.
Okay. Are there any questions from any members of the committee for those items? Okay, hearing none, I'm actually going to ask Ms. Brandeis to take items I and J.
Thank you. So item I is the Transit-Oriented Development Pilot Program grant application. This application is due next Monday, and it is a fixed guideway application. We have partnered with the MPC, including the MPO. We've got a developer that we've been chatting with, the Eastern Wharf developer, as well as Bike Walk Savannah, and we are working on an application for a multimodal stop with the new Eastern Wharf development with our ferry boat system. This grant, we did look at a couple other options for projects. However, it needs to be fixed guideway, and currently our only fixed guideway is the ferry boat system. So we're looking at that. Incidentally, we have also got another project in mind, and are working with the city of Savannah on a grant that they are going to apply for, but will help with some of those other projects that we've been talking about with our stakeholders. And the second application is the COVID-19 Research Demonstration Program grant application. This one, we are looking for contactless payment in our paratransit buses. That is our most vulnerable customer. So in order to keep them safe and keep our drivers safe, we are working with some folks on a joint project to do some contactless payment. This one does not have a match. It's 100% federal funded, and this one is due on November 2nd. And to jump back, I forgot to tell you about the match that goes with the TOD pilot program application. And that does require a 20% match. We haven't decided yet on how much we're asking for, so I can't tell you today. I will have that information for you next week as to what the 20% match is, but we have been talking to MPC, and we have SPLOST funds available to cover that local match.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Dice, for that. And just of particular interest, I know that we talked during our committee meetings also about looking at that Albacorn corridor and doing a BRT study, but that project does not meet all the thresholds required by the grant application. But please be reassured that we are not putting that project too far on the shelf. That is something that we are looking at through other means, as Ms. Dice mentioned, but we know what challenges we face with that route, with that area. That is a lifeline of our system. And so we will definitely be looking at other means of getting that study done, since we believe that corridor is ripe for some type of express or some other accelerated service. So any
Great.
questions about those grant applications? All right. Hearing none, we'll go to item K, which is the budget amendment adoption calendar. On Friday evening, I visited with many of our members and hand delivered the draft binder that contained our amended budget. There are a couple of members, including that I've already reached out to give additional information to, in terms of the ones I was not able to meet with on Friday evening. So I'm looking forward with using that as an excuse to catch up with those members as well. The original budget that was passed shortly before my official arrival, I think was 27.6 million. I am pleased to announce that the proposed amended budget is $24.4 million. So even with the restructuring of the agency, we have been able to really get a handle on the cost of doing business, the cost of running the agency, and we have restructured even the financial side of the house so that we can do a better job of managing expenses and understanding exactly how much it costs to run our organization. There will be a board budget workshop that will be taking place on Thursday, November the 5th. I think during the other committees, we had published that it was going to be on November the 3rd, but since that is election day, far be it from us to get in the way of anybody exercising their rights or being available and out in the community on election day. So we know many of our members are civically engaged. And so we want to make sure that they're available to do their civic duty or assist others with their civic duty. So we will be moving that budget workshop to Thursday, November the 5th. We are hopeful that the amended budget will be ready for adoption at the November board meeting. So which would put us right at 6 months in almost from when it was adopted. We will start working on our FY22 budget in January. So we basically pause for the cause during the holidays, and then we go right back to work on our budget. But with that being said, know that the way that we are handling things, we work daily. We are a numbers-driven organization, and we are holding our leadership accountable for helping us to stay within budget. And so again, hopefully those efforts will be reflected in the financials that you all will receive from this point going forward. So are there any questions about the budget amendment adoption calendar?
So it looks like, based on page 18 from the book that you dropped off, I'm really excited to jump into this, but I'm not going to now, because what we're talking about is just simply adopting the calendar, which would basically start a timeline from November 5th until the 17th, at which point this amendment to the budget would be adopted.
Correct.
So that's all we're doing.
That's all we're doing. That's
All right.
all we're doing. But put a star by your questions.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I got many. I like it.
We'll be ready, but we really hope that the members are excited to see that we do have a budget book, that you have something you can doodle on and everything else in terms of in terms of getting ready to amend the budget. Any other questions about the budget amendment adoption calendar?
I'll refrain from asking, but honestly, all very good.
Okay. All right. Hearing none, I'm going to toss it back to Mr. Stearns for item I.
So item I is a,
Not I, L, sorry.
oh, okay. Yes, item L is a IT contract extension. So we have released the IT RFP. And our original plan, as you all know, the contract expires November 30th. Well, we plan to have it ready and available to the board, but we actually meet on the third Tuesday. The board meeting is on the third Tuesday in November, and we didn't quite account for the third Tuesday versus the fourth Tuesday. So that actually kind of bumps our ability to make a contract recommendation to the board. So we're looking to have the IT services extended through infinity under the current contract through December 30th so that we can present the award recommendation to the board at the December board meeting.
And let me be the first to apologize because we really did think that we would have enough time to get all of this done through November. But we really wanted to take the time that was necessary due to COVID and everything that we have been working through here to make sure that if we were going to bring any part of our IT services in-house, that it made sense financially as well as logistically. And so we took the extra time, we sought expert advice from other government entities in terms of how they have managed their IT services. And so again, I know I did represent to the board that November would give us enough time, but we are planning to move forward and hopefully be able to have all of this worked through by December. So your cooperation and would be really appreciated, and your forgiveness for us going a month beyond what we originally represented to the board. So we'll entertain any questions that you have about that. All right, hearing none. I see, is Miss Royal on the line? I think she, oh, I see Miss Royal. Item M, is that something that you can speak to? I don't see Miss Williams on the Zoom.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay, Ms. Roy.
The Assistant County Manager of Chatham County, Linda Kramer, reached out to our agency regarding a tax settlement that had been actually approved by Chatham County Board. And what that means is Chatham Area Transit now has a liability that we owe to Chatham County. There was a tax payer who were disputing taxes over a number of years. And during that time, we have been receiving payments from Chatham County based on collections from this taxpayer. Therefore, we have been asked to pay back the monies based on funds received from 2013 up until 2019. The total amount that CAT is due to pay back is $100,426. So at this point in time, we are bringing this information to the board so that we can submit or remit a payment to Chatham County. I think we have been given a deadline of October the 30th to have this payment remitted to them.
Right, so it's the equivalent, I believe, it's almost like we're swapping checks. The county has given us a payment and then we have to turn around and almost pay back the whole payment, almost.
Right.
That they've given us. So it's, it works actually to the positive of the agency, but it's still more than I can authorize cutting a check for, so.
Who is it? Which
sorry?
property is it? Is that, can we know that?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms.
Yes,
Roy.
yes, we can give you that information. The property is Kinder Morgan. Yes. Mm.
I once asked them to sponsor an art show, so maybe that's why.
Well,
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
but at least it does work to the positive of the authority. We'll end up with a few dollars.
But
after
yes,
swap the check.
Yes, ma'am. The actual amount was 170,000, and we're being asked to pay back the 100,000. So therefore, we're to the good like $69,000.
And again, this was something that just came to us from the county. So we're advising you all because we were just advised of this. So any other questions? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to ask Mr. Stearns to take item N, item O. Yeah, item N and O.
So item N is we're going to have the legal services contract award. We are in the process of finalizing that, and as soon as it's available, the plan is to pass along the actual contract award to the board for review prior to the meeting. We're just not quite at the spot where we can release the name of the award recommendation. So we wanted to put this on as a placeholder with the understanding that making sure we have legal services correctly contracted is of vital importance. So we're really trying to push to make sure we get it done by October, because there's a number of things that we need to have legal services input on. So it's not our preferred method, but we're basically putting this as a it's coming placeholder, and we fully expect to get that to you probably within the next couple days. So that's what the item N is. And then item O is compliance program policy. This was actually read.
Real quick.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
On the RFPs that we have open, there are two that seems that we would be talking about on the October 27th meeting. One of them being legal services, that one finalizes on the 22nd. And then the other one is the legislative advocacy services, which it's on the website, is reporting for October 16th. Do we see that? Did we talk about that? Is that coming for award sign off soon?
That will be
yeah. So,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bakar.
No, I was going to say I actually extended that one
Okay.
just to ensure that we had enough opportunity for it to be out. We didn't really get many responses, and so we wanted to make sure that it was competitively bid, and so that everyone had an opportunity to know that it was out there and respond to it. So we did extend that one, and we do expect to have that contract award on the November agenda.
Got it.
We did go ahead and move forward with the legal representation RFP, and Mr. Stearns, if you don't mind, can you kind of at least at a high level let the members know how many people responded or how many entities responded?
Sure.
And so that's why we kept with the deadlines for the legal representation.
So we had a decent response for legal services. We had 5 entities respond, which for kind of general legal counsel services is, I think, pretty decent. So that one had quite a bit of competition that we could point to. So that one we felt like we could move forward with presenting it to the board for the October meeting. Obviously, it's just a matter of making sure all the ducks are in a row for the contract recommendation to the board. But for the board meeting on the 27th, it'll definitely be ready. And like I said, prior to that meeting, our plan is to provide basically what we would put in our agenda to the board as soon as possible. So item O is the compliance program. This is actually the second reading, I guess you would, and therefore vote. It was originally presented in the September board meeting as a first reading because it is an entirely new program essentially at CAT. There was the recommendation that we do a first reading in the September board meeting. And so now it's up for vote, and we're hoping to put it, keep it on the consent agenda. Are there any questions with regard to the compliance program?
I don't have a question on the compliance program. But the last two items I'm fine with, and we can get to those. I just want to make sure that I've got right in front of me, I've got the Stakeholder Relations Committee agenda, and then I've got this agenda, and I'm just sort of double checking to make sure that what we talked about in the committees is on here. The records management policy, that one is not on this agenda that we've got here, and I'm just wondering if that, what the update is with that. And honestly, I need a refresher on what the records management policy is.
I thought that was the one that was on the committee agenda for the month prior, where we had it on there for a reading. And then we brought it back this month so that it's kind of like a first reading, and then you actually move it for approval. And so that's the reason why it wasn't in there. It was an oversight on our part, because it still should have been on the agenda for the committee meeting. And that was an oversight on our part. We did not carry it forward, which was why we wanted to make absolute sure that it was on the agenda for at least the governance committee. But it was one that was presented during the September meetings.
Got it. All right.
Any other questions? All right.
Ms. Malden?
Yes.
I'm sorry. That was the record management policy. It is missing from the governance. It was on the regular committee. But it did go out to the board members in an email. Mr. Director Emerson, are you okay with moving that forward?
Replay that by me real quick.
Was it the record management policy?
Yeah.
Before? It was on regular committee agenda, but was missing off of this one. Was your question? Was that your
Yes, it was.
The
We
other way
discussed it briefly at the meeting on the, you guys are testing my knowledge of dates. I believe last week, and it's not on the meeting. It's not on today's agenda for the board meeting. So I just want to make sure that at the board meeting, we've got, some idea of what we're talking about.
Yes, Ms. Martin, we were looking to bring that forward to the board for action. Are you okay with moving that forward?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm in favor of it too. I mean, I think it's a good policy.
Thank you.
I do need a refresher on it, but I think we'll get to that at the board meeting.
Well, know that after the first of the year, it is our goal to have a board retreat. And then once we have our board retreat, we'll have an opportunity to do a complete policy refresher.
We should take the ferry across the river and just stay in the Westin and then take it back. It's free and we'd save money. Sounds good.
In that same spirit, we are having a staff workshop, and we are taking the ferry across the river to the convention center. And we are doing our retreat there. So great minds think alike.
It's free ferry.
Okay, so moving to items P and Q. With P, we're going to have our consultants that perform the diversity and inclusion assessment to give an overview of the findings. Just to share at a high level, some of the concerns or some of the things that were picked up in the assessment, and share recommended actions with the board. Any questions about the diversity and inclusion assessment? All right, hearing none, I'm actually going to turn it over to I believe Mr. Cooksey and Mr. Dumas for the service changes.
Yes, that's correct. Mr. Dumas, if you can go ahead and talk us through some of the adjustments that were made on this particular presentation.
And while you all are doing that, as you know, we are we've changed our talking points from more of a service reduction to a service optimization. Because of the tremendous response that we've had on several of our routes, we're actually increasing service on those while we are reducing service on some of our lower performing routes and even eliminating service on the 100X as the board has instructed us to do. During this time when resources are very, very tight, very limited, it's really, really important, we believe, to put the resources where we absolutely need it and not, not overextend resources in places that may not justify that level of resource investment. So we are moving forward on November 2nd, well, really November 1st, because we will temporarily suspend our Sunday service to kind of allow a reset day. And then on November 2nd, the proposed service changes that Mr. Dumas is going to discuss should go into effect on the 2nd. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dumas.
All right, now you can hear me, right?
We got you.
Very good. Okay. So the information that I'm about to share is information that we've already shared, but we updated it just to make it reflect the November 2nd changes. So beginning in the month of November, our hours will change. It's important that you all know that what we're doing, as we said, we're taking a holiday schedule. And our holiday schedule is actually designed to run less service on a given day. But we've also added service where it needs to be in order to make it, to optimize the service that we'll put out Monday through Saturday. And so we built on that holiday schedule by adding additional routes and buses where they need to be. So this will be a reflection of that, the presentation. So as you know, we will begin the service on the 2nd of November. And what we're showing is that currently our fixed route daily service revenue hour cost consists of our core weekday hours, Saturday and Sunday right now. So we have, these are the revenue hours per day. And the cost is calculated at the new cost of service, which is $122 per hour, the cost to run our fixed route services, which include wages, fuel, maintenance, and administrative costs. So this is what we're currently doing. And then next in November, the cost will reduce. The weekday hours there's a reduction on weekday and Saturday. And of course, we will temporarily suspend Sunday service. So you still have your costs there, and there's no cost saving, but there is what we're doing is adjusting the cost to where we're not adding additional costs to continue to run the service during the time that we're not collecting revenue through our fare boxes. And so this table reflects, again, November 2020 projection. Service will still continue to run from 5 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. And the reduction of our peak vehicles will be from 36 to 34. So not a big reduction there. We're putting more buses out to transport less passengers, but that's keep social distancing available on our routes. Our monthly core revenue hours reduced by 1,771.23 hours for the month. And again, Sunday service is temporarily suspended for cleaning all of our buses to make sure we have a deep cleaning and have a fresh fleet start each week. We will continue to do cleaning throughout the week as well. So we will do as much cleaning as necessary to keep our customers feeling safe, as well as knowing that they are safe. Savings are not anticipated, again, due to the non-collecting fares from July current to October. We have not collected any fares at that point. And of course, then our proposed service frequency, this is just a chart to show the time that a passenger, the longest time that they would wait before being able to board a bus under normal circumstances. Again, we will monitor the service. If we need to put additional buses out there because of overcrowding, we will be prepared to do that on routes that are necessary. And that ends the presentation. If you have any questions, certainly I'd be more than glad to answer those questions if you have any.
I don't really have a question. It's just a comment. I think we're going to have an awfully big challenge on doing budgeting this year with that increase from $99 to $122 an hour for service. That is a big jump.
It is a big jump. However, in calculating our service hours, that is one of the reasons why this spending adjustment, if you will, is necessary. That actually is what will cause us to balance out at the end. We have divided, and again, without going too deep into it, because you'll hear all about it on the 5th, we restructured the way that we're doing things financially. So it makes it easier to see where we are out of line in terms of our outlay and our spending, and we can make the appropriate adjustments to be able to cover the ground that needs to be covered. So I'm really proud of our team for coming together to put this proposal together. They have done just a yeoman's job of putting it together, and I think that this is what is necessary to get us through business unusual. As we navigate these uncertain waters of COVID.
Yeah, I'm just hoping we have some firm idea where we're going to be come January when we start doing that new budget, but I don't think anybody can do that. The crystal ball is just not going to work.
Well, we've been even the projections in the amended budget have been very, very conservative. It is my desire for us to end up way to the positive. To be quite honest, I will tell you there are sources of revenue that I am aware of that I have brought to the attention of our staff that we're actually researching right now to come online. So if we're able to bring those funding sources to fruition, as I believe we are going to end up in the positive, and we'll end up in a much better place.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Chairman Cody.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, sir? May I speak?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm gonna follow protocol. Ms. Malden, I appreciate you taking the time to make the adjustments to the budget, making sure that our budget is in line with where we need to be at. I thank you for taking the time to reducing the budget at those points where we needed to make the reductions at. It's critical for our organization that we move forward with transparency, accountability, and leverage to make sure we do what's right for our community here in Chatham County. So I do appreciate you and the team around you for doing such a marvelous job and making sure we move this budget forward. Thank you for giving me the time to talk, Deidre Cody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I want to also say thank you to the CEO and staff for doing a phenomenal job in this presentation. Beverly, I didn't recognize anything added to the consent agenda. So I'm gonna move forward to old business. We'll use old business to discuss any committee update that any of the chairs wanna present on their behalf. Director Emister, do you have anything?
Am I on? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. We had a relatively short meeting. We tried to get through some of the more repeated items that we've been seeing on the proposed agenda item sooner and focused on what we didn't, focus on what was new, basically, and not what we've already been hearing about, COVID emergency measures and stuff like that. I don't have many updates other than that. It's always nice to hear from staff and see that we're headed in a good direction. I think we've got some exciting ideas around marketing and communications and outreach moving forwards that we're not super ready to start springing and talking about yet, but I will be very excited as the staff continues to introduce some innovative measures around marketing quite a bit. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Do you have anything, Director Jones?
No, sir. I appreciate you giving us acknowledgement to for the strategic team. I do want to, Ms. Malden, I do want to get with Bren as early as possible so we can start discussing some of those items on our preview for 21 and 22. So we can go ahead and have a roadmap as far as what kind of strategic plan we want to really move toward doing. And that goes for Lenny and that goes for Charles as well and David. So any kind of drill down as far as what we want to do with the strategic plan, just please let's get together. Let's make sure that this next month, elections and everything will be out the way. We'll have a clean slate. We'll be able to concentrate real hard on what our direction needs to be for 21. And so I appreciate y'all putting together such a good budget once again. And I look forward to seeing what we got planned for next week and next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Do we have anything, Director Leggett?
No, sir, we don't have too much. This was my first meeting as a chairman, and also we met a nice group of individuals who are a part of the team now, and we just look forward to moving CAT forward again. Thank you. That's all we have.
Thank you, Director. Moving on to new business. Do we have any new business from our committee or CEO? Nothing? Okay. All right, our next meeting, I look forward to seeing each and every one of you next week at our regular board meeting on the 27th. And don't forget about our budget workshop on the 5th of November. Beverly, can you please make sure that invites go out to everybody?
Yes, sir, Chairman Cody.
All right, thank you. And if we don't have anything else with any other business, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.